Hey Lisa,
Hi, how are you, Janet?
I'm good. How are you doing?
Good.
Hey, I gotta ask you, for margaritas, do you have to do the real lime juice and squeeze all those limes?
Well, it's the best way to do it, yes.
And how do you do all those limes to make enough?
You know,
Hey
we
Marie.
we use a juicer at the restaurant, but we've got I use a lime squeezer myself at home, but at the restaurant we just use a juicer.
So would you put the whole lime in?
No, we just squeeze the pulp and we actually use a sieve because we don't want the pulp inside the margarita.
Oh, all right, all right, all right. I'll try to figure this out. Hey Marie, how you doing?
Good morning.
Good morning. I'm gonna go get my coffee, you guys. Just 1 second.
How was your vacation?
I wish I was there right now. Grateful that I had that whole time, but it was amazing. It was perfect. Just very
Aw.
relaxing. And, I really couldn't connect well with home. So I couldn't get all my messages and my emails and texts. So it was kind of nice. I enjoyed it.
Aw.
Life without your trees. Is it going okay?
Oh, you know what? I do miss them. Every time I step out, I just look at these three areas and I just feel like it's missing, you can just feel. But I did go get some peonies.
Oh,
I'm gonna plop in there. And then a couple of bushes of the gardenias
yeah.
where one of the trees was. I'm gonna try to put it there. But I discovered it's not as easy as I thought to try to dig a hole.
Well, are you using a spoon or a shovel?
A shovel, it's really hard. I don't know how men do it because the shovel's heavy.
Yeah.
And then to try to dig, and then there's roots, and I didn't, account for that part. So I was thinking, I had called actually Les and I asked him, I said, is there a machine you can rent that just comes and digs a hole?
There is.
He's like, there is, but Home Depot doesn't rent them. So,
And they're armory, but they're kind of difficult to handle. They're not very easy to handle either. They've kind of got a mind of their own.
oh,
So my thinking is, and sounds very sexist, but I think you drive down to the local U-Haul and grab a few gentlemen and hand them shovels, and they'll dig it all up for you for probably $50.
oh my gosh, that would
I
be
was going to say the
perfect.
same thing.
Yeah. Gardening is hard. I don't know how some of the people do it because digging holes is a lot of work.
On many different levels too. That's could be what's symbolic. So look at everybody signing on. Good morning, everybody.
Morning.
Good morning.
Yeah.
See you all. Colleen's going to be leading us today. Very excited about it. We'll let people log on. It'll take them a few minutes, but I do have questions about abundance, and so I'll wait till we get everybody on board. Then we'll start, and then you'll start, and Janet will start, and we'll get started.
Starting. Okay.
I have to, Colleen, can I read what you wrote to me this morning?
Okay.
Okay.
I'm sweating. I'm so nervous.
Oh,
Oh.
sweetheart.
Oh,
You're-
don't be
you're-
nervous.
Good nervous. Good nervous.
Okay.
Yeah,
I'm
no,
excited.
we're all excited. She said, I was saying how thankful I was, and she said, of course, and even if you're very wealthy, you can absolutely have a money block, not know how to correctly leverage what service you provide. The money is going to flow to these women after today. And I'm going, woo, woo.
Yes.
Well, I think that, Colleen, that's part of my question. Janet did a little meditation series on abundance with that guy. What's his name, Janet? Sorry. He was.
Oh, Michael Sandler? Michael Sandler?
No. It was a series of videos where I had to write in a journal and everything like that. And he's the guru. Everybody loves him. What's his
Jack
name?
Canfield. Jack Canfield.
Oh, no. He's Indian gentleman. He's
Oh,
Feedback.
Deepak.
Deepak Chopra?
Thank you. Oh, God. I guess I had too many margaritas while I was away.
Sounds like, yeah.
So I guess, so anyway, I did that series with Janet. It was, it was weeks and weeks of listening to these videos and writing in a journal and working on abundance. And you had to, visit your family trauma and stuff like that. But I'm going to tell you, I have a little bit of a block, feeling that at times I'm not very deserving of asking for money or better finances, or, I sometimes think there's so many people that need more than I do.
Mhm.
And so I probably put up a little resistance when it comes to doing that. So I hope that you can kind of talk about that today.
Oh, like, have you been reading my notes? Yes, that's exactly, especially when it comes to like A, women, B, women who like are providing services. Like we feel like, and that's like, it's so deep seated and deep rooted, like women, we feel like, oh, we don't need this. I have what I need. There are other people who need it more than me. Like, but, and I'll get into all of it, but there's nothing bad about having money. Right. But it's, and my whole background, like up until very recently, like I had such a hard, huge money block. And like, I'm not somebody who, grew up wealthy or like had like the stuff that I've been able to accomplish in a very short time has been a lot of mindset, abundance work, and not just like, we need a journal, but we also need to like do some things. But yeah.
It is interesting, and I'm sure that all the women here can totally relate at different times.
Mhm.
Especially for a lot of us that have clients and things like that, and you look at these clients with empathy and you're like, oh, well, they can't really afford my regular rate. So I'm just going to go ahead and charge them, and then resentment builds up because you're like, I should be charging them more money, that kind of thing. It's a vicious cycle. So
It's not good for anybody.
Yeah.
It's not good for anybody.
It'll be great. And I just read this, there's this person that sends a prayer out every day on Instagram. And one of the prayers that was interesting to me was, don't be afraid to ask God for good things, because he's there for the good and the bad. So I was like, oh, okay. Because, I just say, get the plane there safely. I never say,
Maybe get bumped up to first class on the plane that gets there safely, right? Like we
Yes.
never, I think it happens like most women. We're just like, just bare minimum. Like, I hope I don't die. Not like, could I also like maybe get a free drink, or could I like have a great conversation, or like whatever. It's just like, please don't crash and burn. I'm like,
I want to ask Colleen, you have 3 little boys. Where are they? Look at her beautiful white house, and that you just moved.
this
in.
is my,
Where are
so
your
talk
little boys?
about, so yeah, I have 3 boys who are 7, 5, and 2. And we just moved into our new house, and this floor of the house, and nobody's allowed on but me.
Oh.
So
Oh, wow.
nobody's allowed up here. It's just my office. So,
and they understand that.
oh yeah, they understand that. They're like, no, this is we have a basement. It's a whole huge, like all their toys are down there. They have their own rooms. No, nobody comes in mommy's office.
Wow.
I need a space, right? Like I was burning sage this morning. Like they can't come up here and mess all this stuff.
Yeah.
My whole house is wrecked. This is my space.
I can completely appreciate that.
But also then you feel guilty, right? Like that's a whole other thing to work through, and abundance and all this stuff. Like, my mother-in-law is like, oh, you have your own space. I'm like, your son has a golf room. Like, at least I'm making money up here. Like, it's just hitting golf balls. So, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Thank you, mother-in-law.
Yeah, thank you. That's a whole other talk, isn't it?
Well, we got time for all of them.
No.
I see Marilyn nodding her head. A lot of us know Marilyn's mother-in-law story, so we have great empathy, right?
They're just different. But my husband's mother-in-law is great. There's nothing wrong with her.
Oh, good.
I'm like, She's perfect. She's a saint. Don't say anything about her.
So Colleen's mother, hopefully Katie, is going to come to my house for the weekend, and having Katie come, my kids go, Katie's so much fun. We can't wait. Your whole family is wonderful, Colleen. It's just wonderful. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I know. She's like, I really want to get out there. I hope the flight's like, so she's planning on it.
And where are you from? Or where are you calling from today?
I'm in Richmond, Virginia.
Oh, you are? Okay.
Yeah. We're on the East Coast.
Yeah. Is it a little snowy out there?
Oh no, it's like 65, 70.
Oh, okay, that's nice.
Sunny today. Yeah. I mean, tomorrow it'll probably be 40, but it's nice today.
Oh, good. I have a friend that lives in Maine, and she got snow last weekend, and she was all ready she had her spring wardrobe out
I
already.
know. Awful. It'll be here soon. In Virginia, it just goes from like winter, like 48 hours of spring, and then like hell's front porch. It's so hot. We're enjoying it.
Lisa, did you see Idell, your husband's in doing a colonoscopy or something? You didn't think you could make it, right?
It was so quick. When they called me to pick him up, I was at line at the grocery store.
Wow.
So very surprising, but yes, we're home and fed and all went well.
Oh,
Oh,
great.
good. The universe supported you getting on the call. Wonderful.
Well, I think we can get started. It's a little bit after, and so Janet's going to lead us today on our meditation, and Colleen's going to lead us on our discussion. So, good morning, ladies.
Good morning. We start with our protection prayer with Marilyn, right?
Yay. And take a deep breath. Let your shoulders fall back. We clothe ourselves in a robe of light composed of the love, the power, and the wisdom of divine consciousness. We wear it not only for our own protection, but also so that those who see it or come in contact with it will be drawn to divine and healed. Let the divine light surround us, let it permeate us, let it fill us up and emanate from us and reflect back and forth to each other and to divine light. And let us always remember that we are the light. Meredith?
Okay, thank you, Marilyn. And so we'll go ahead and really center in following Marilyn's beautiful protection prayer. And be aware of the air around you, how generous our universe, our planet is, the abundance of air that's available to us. With each breath that we take, we easily breathe in and out, accepting oxygen as a gift. And then as we're breathing, hopefully feeling the love, the joy, the excitement with all of us being here, sharing information, sharing our energy. And as we think of abundance, we can think of abundance of love, of health, of course, money, of adventure, of fun, bringing in all that is good and for our highest good. As we think of and allow wonderful things to come towards us and emanate from us. And using the acronym STAR, surrender, trust, allow, and receive. Imagine that you walk out into the sunlight on a colder day, and we allow and surrender to that warm sunlight that warms us, makes us feel comfortable. And we trust that the sun will be there. And we allow for all of its benefits, the warmth, the vitamin D, the comfort. And as we meditate on abundance, I'm going to ask you to allow the idea of abundance to just permeate every cell of your body. And a few of you have done this meditation before, but I'm going to take you on a journey where you can really feel the power of financial abundance. So imagine that you're walking towards your favorite plant or tree, and this magical plant or tree hands you $100 bill. All you have to do is take it off the tree. And you think, maybe a nice dinner with my family, something I wanted to buy. $100 is a nice gift. But the next day, the same plant gives you $1,000. Now with $1,000, you may actually be able to plan a vacation, pay off a bill, do something really nice with $1,000. So you start getting excited about waking up every day because the next day it's $10,000. So for you, imagine an extra $10,000 to perhaps put down a down payment on a new car, or really provide or pay off some bills, or what an extra 10,000 would do right now, today for you. And again, we're allowing this to come forward. The next day is 100,000. $100,000. Now you could probably buy the car, or perhaps buy an investment property, perhaps help one of your family members or yourself with something that you've needed or wanted with 100,000. But we're not going to stop there. We're really bringing in abundance. So the next day, it's $1 million. $1 million that's yours to buy the home you want, to pay off the home you have, to help your children, your loved ones, perhaps make retirement easier, perhaps as an investment for your future. $1 million can open up a lot of channels, and really allow yourself to imagine that million is in your bank account right now and what it would open up for you. But because this plant is as generous as our sun, the next day it's $10 million. Now, totally with $10 million, we can go beyond ourselves to imagine what we would do for those we love, for our community. Perhaps it's a health organization or the homeless that you'd want to promote or contribute to. 10 million could do a lot right now to help our planet and help the people we love. Expanding that even more to 100 million. With that 100 million, the difference that you or I could make would be significant. The 100 million could feed the homeless around us, could house people living in the streets, could provide the research to stop the devastation of some diseases. 100 million could change Africa and bring water to the Sahara Desert. Really try to expand how people on this planet right now who have 100 million could feel if they were thinking of what they could do to help others. And now you have $1 billion. The next day it's $1 billion. You are now a billionaire with the ability to create, to change, to influence wherever your heart takes you. And we can expand this to 10 billion, whatever you'd like to imagine to bring a smile on your face. But the idea that each of us here is a light to help others, to create healing, to create a better planet. We're so lucky to be here right now, to be expanding our awareness and our intention so that we can do and create some of these dreams that sometimes stay quiet within our hearts. And as you breathe that in, again, remembering it's as easy as accepting the sunlight. That's how easy it can be to accept abundance. There's no obligation. There's nothing you owe except what your heart tells you you'd like to do. The sun doesn't ask for anything in return. So let's try to change our feeling about accepting and creating abundance in whatever way you'd like. And again, bringing it back to radiant health, love, adventure, fun, and money. Breathing that in, breathing in the warmth of the women here, bringing in the appreciation that each of you have made time to be here today. And for me, breathing in deep gratitude to Colleen for helping us today. So we'll stretch out and come back to being here now. Thank you everyone for being here. Thank you, Colleen, so much for giving your time, your energy. I would love if you want to tell some of your story because it is amazing. It is
Oh
amazing.
gosh. Yeah, so that was amazing. Thank you so much. And yeah, I will definitely kind of tell a little bit of my story, kind of why the heck am I talking here? What have I done? You know, so I'll go through that. And then I want to kind of talk about, yes, abundance can come in all forms, but I feel like financial abundance is a conversation that more women need to be having, just because of like what we were talking about a couple minutes ago, Lisa. I've never met a man who was like, you know, I don't feel like I deserve that. I feel like other people need it. And this isn't like a man versus, but it's just like we have been taught that as women, it's maybe bad or selfish or whatever. And I just firmly believe that the world would be a better place if money was in the hands of more women, and especially more women who are healers and offering services that help other people. So that's why we're talking about this. I will tell you, like I said, a little bit about my story. I have, like I was saying, I have a history of a very different relationship with money. And it's something that's just recently changed. And even still, like when I talk about what I've done and what's been happening, the old part of me is still like, don't do that. That's uncomfortable. People don't want to hear that. You're bragging. But I know that I've been able to do things because I've been able to hear what other women are doing. And for me, that's helped. You know, so my background is in mental health counseling. I have my master's degree in counseling. I worked in a jail with male inmates and then switched over to an employee assistance program setting. And when I was pregnant, or no, I had my first son, and my husband had a great job at the time, very handsome salary. We were like, we'll stay home. I'll stay home. Okay. That's the hardest job ever. Like I was like, this is for the birds. So I was staying home. My oldest was about 16 months old. I was 5 months pregnant, and my husband lost his job out of nowhere. So we went from very up here on a pedestal, like this is nice, everything's fine, to we have no income. And it was this event that kicked off an entrepreneurial journey for myself and my husband, because we had a couple options. You know, we can both go back to work, which I had no problem doing, but also not many people are like knocking down the door of a woman who's 5 months pregnant to say, hey, come work for us for a couple weeks, and then not. And childcare is very expensive and all of the things. So let's start our own businesses. Right. Okay. So I started, I found my way into direct sales, network marketing, you know, maybe think Mary Kay or Avon or things like that. The industry has changed a lot since when I told my mom. She was like, what? I was like, it's different now, don't worry. But I quickly found success in network marketing. In the top, have been in the top 2% of the company, had started to make a full-time income very quickly with that endeavor. And then about a year and a half ago, I was like, there could be more to this, right? And it was that question of more. Is it wrong to want more? Like, what is more? And I started an Instagram account called No Shame Sales Game, anonymously, just kind of talking about the network marketing industry, saying things that people weren't saying, trying to kind of make a change, make a shift. And I didn't think anyone would follow along, but it grew very quickly. And from there, I was like, I could probably like make I could start something from this. So I started an online training platform for women in sales. And when my husband and I were coming up with this idea, we were like, okay, what's going to make this a viable business? And we were like, and this, we just launched it, 15 months ago. And we thought, okay, with this startup, very minimal overhead. Like if we could make $30,000 in year one, then that would be viable and we'd feel pretty good about it. So December was our year mark and we made $1 million in year one. Like WTF, right? Like nobody's more shocked than I. And think like the money that I make now is more, what I make in a month is more than I or my husband never made in a year, right? So this whole financial, everything has changed and I'm no different. It's just my position to money and the position towards abundance has changed drastically. So that's kind of what I'm going to walk us through. And like I said, it's never been natural for me. This is kind of my question for you guys. If you're able to use the chat, like I would love to know when I say like money, what are the first words or feelings that come to mind? So I don't want to put my own words in your mouth, but if you're able to use the chat, I would love to and this obviously,
if you guys want to use chat, which they're using.
Or unmute or whatever.
Or you can talk, whatever you're comfortable with.
I'm always just used to the chat. So freedom.
And because there might be a lot of people that would like to talk, just raise your hand so we can see you. Alona said giving pleasure and rest.
Mhm.
And Janet said freedom.
You know what I also want to say? It's freedom and responsibility because, my first husband who's he's been gone for a long time, but he had a whole lot of money and it was so much responsibility to figure out what he was going to do. And he kept saying, you're going to give all the money away to the homeless. And I said, yes, let me do it. We're divorced, of course, because he's got his money in his beach house and everything. But it's a lot of responsibility to figure that out.
Sita says fun. Liz says I'm mixed about it because for a long time I looked at money as something bad.
Yes, that's what I'm looking at. Yeah,
covered that a little bit too, Liz. I do think. Well, let's see. I'm sorry, Liz. As something bad. Now I do think freedom as well, the ability to help others. And Mary Beth agrees with that. I agree with that as well.
Yeah. And this is something you can also take to your journal as well when you have time. But it was the first time I really thought about it like this. It was bad, greed, dirty, none of the words that came initially for money were positive. So if we think of money as just plain old energy, like from the universe, not dollar bills, not anything like Janet was talking about, like the warmth of the sun. If we just think about it as energy, if we're saying it's bad, it's gross, it makes us, a greedy person, we don't want it. So why in the world would the universe, God, source energy, whatever you want to identify with, why would it bring you the money if we think it's negative things? So limited, such a good, yes. If I have it, I got to white knuckle it and hold on to it because God knows it's going to be gone in a minute. Right. So again, when I was talking to Janet, I was like, I'm going to give some woo-woo stuff and I'm going to give some practical stuff, but we have to really think about money as flowing energy. And if it is something that is, we don't have enough of, or I have to hold on to it, then the universe is never going to it's not going to flow freely because that block is there. So I'm literally looking at my wall right now. I have sticky notes that have to remind me all the time. Financial abundance flows to me freely. I create 6-figure months consecutively. We do this much in revenue, all of these things, because I have to believe it. We have to believe it and get our energy right. So if it feels uncomfortable for you to say that money is great, money is energy, all the things, really, really journaling, putting up sticky notes, having these conversations is so, so important. And why, like what I hope to do by the end of this conversation is have you realize like how powerful you are in relation to like having money flow to you or any type of abundance. If money isn't it, fine, replace it with fun, health, whatever. But for the sake of conversation today, it's money. And that you are like a master of selling whatever it is that you offer. And because I don't know, what is everyone, if we just want to go around the room, if you want to chat, like what is everyone's service or what do you sell or like charge for?
So why don't I just call on people in
Yeah.
the circle here? And so we'll start with Marie.
I'm a psychologist and trying to get this podcast up and
Ooh, okay.
with it, classes and retreats.
Love it.
Mary Beth.
We do lots of things, but none of it brings a lot of money. So
That's the problem.
all right, so I translate, I also teach. I just applied last night to a job at UCSD. It was like, Mary Beth, this is you, apply for this job.
Okay.
Spanish, English, translation and interpreter teacher, right? I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, I can do that. We have, we're hoping to do a business called Family Tapestry, where we go in and record people's lives for the legacy, you know, for when they pass, that kind of thing. We're going actually to an investors meeting at Cal State San Marcos on Thursday, and I'm kind of confused at how to pitch. I could go on, but I mean, it's services. It's always services.
Yep. Okay, cool.
Thanks, Mary Beth. Idell.
I actually just retired in January,
Congratulations.
but did start on the side because everybody was egging me on to start a baking business. So I did. My daughter created an Instagram account for me called Baked by Idell. So we'll see.
Yeah, so doing something fun. Thanks, Idell. Donna.
I was trying to think about some of the side things. You know, primarily I've been working part-time for North County Philanthropy Council as their membership coordinator. Since my boss is leaving, I'm not sure how much longer this position is going to hold. And so there will be a need to be looking at other things, or possibly looking at other things, I suppose. Had a dream about that this morning, about trying to convince the new boss about why I couldn't focus on all this other stuff with all these other people here. So that was a little weird. But low content publishing is something that that we've been looking at. And that would probably now take the form of like prompt journals. You know, here's a thought that you can journal on. Right now I have a stalled project, which was a color. So everybody was like, oh, you did a calendar, a 12-month calendar. Actually, I did an 18-month calendar, but why didn't you include your artwork so that we could color? Okay, so the next one became that, and then it took a lot longer than it was on time. Now I'm thinking about redoing it and putting it out as an undated calendar, so just to kind of clear it out. But I also did a lot of newsletter stuff a couple of years ago that was primarily on, well, started out with coming back from cancer and kind of became more about just adulting in general. And so I'd really like to get back to that, have the domain parked, but took down the original website and everything, so it would need to be entirely redone. So a couple of different options, not sure which direction time will allow mostly to go to.
Oh, you're busy, Donna. I don't know how to
Busy.
get all that straight.
I'm not sure I did.
Donna, how about you, Lynn?
I'm also recently retired, and so but I do talk to animals but I don't charge for it.
Oh,
I
Lynn.
know it's bad for the profession and it's bad for me, but so I obviously have some issues with money.
Oh, yes, I love it. Thank
But it
you.
feels like it feels like service work to me.
Hey,
like-
service work. Okay, all right.
Yeah, well, hey, hang on to that thought, Colleen. We're gonna get right back to you, Lynn. Marilyn, how about you?
Am I unmuted? Yeah.
Oh, you're unmuted.
I'm unmuted. It seems like I have a real allergy to money. I was brought up with two truths. You don't want money because nobody has everything. And if you have money, you'll lose something else. I still got cancer, even though I didn't have money. So, but the other thing was, you'll always have whatever you need and land on your feet. So those have always been true. We always land on our feet. Idel, who knows us for 40 years, it's a marvel of nature that with what divine allows me to do, that I can not have money, because again, I'd rather work for free than charge. And it's interesting because all these wonderful things are manifesting. The book is out, but because of COVID, we didn't do the media. I feel I'm on the launching pad and letting go of the old and letting it all come in.
Awesome. Marilyn, I wanted to hire you. I was like, I need a medium mentor. I need some, I will pay you good money to help me figure out what the hell is going on inside my head.
Oh, well, thank you. It's amazing. I mean, I can't, there's a dichotomy going on. There are hundreds literally of people, and I don't mean it in an ego way, but waiting, and health-wise, I haven't been able to do it. And I think I'm being reset. So I think I'm on the path, but there was a lot there. It was all about not money, but energy. And if I look at it as energy, to sustain us, it'll just take a lot of the stress off. So
Yeah,
yeah,
interesting.
I got work to do.
Thank you, Marilyn. Jan, how about you?
Hi. I'm fascinated by everything that everybody's saying. I'm sort of semi-retired and trying to get into my art again as I did as a child. But I love the energy thing also. It really makes it exciting and like it's fine because you're promoting the flow. So
Yeah,
that's
fingers
it.
crossed. Thanks,
Love
Jan.
it.
How about you, Sita?
Well, thank you for asking. Just this morning, I was wondering, okay, well, what am I going to talk about? And I was told to just listen, but I was also told to let everybody know about my project. So this is perfect. Let's see, 2015, for 1 year, I was downloaded a bunch of information, and I wanted to write a how-to book on communication skills to be able to respond compassionately. And so it turned into something else, and I've divided it into 3 volumes, and I'm ready to launch volume 1. And I'm extremely lazy. So I haven't really wanted to travel. And the idea, I'm really opening up because of this group and another group of, that I can do something online. And so I would like to figure out a platform to get my work out there. And also I want to announce that anybody in this group that would like a copy of my manuscript, even now before it gets published, that would like to read it, I would love to get some more testimonials and some feedback. But anyway, so that's me trying to figure out, oh, and I'm semi-retired.
Love all these semi.
Yeah. So, which means that I have all the time I want to dedicate to this project. So
Sita,
That's-
your house gives you money.
Yes, yes. My house gives me good income. I do Airbnb very successfully.
Oh,
It's
nice.
taken me years to get to this point, and now it's almost passive income.
Oh, yay,
Nice.
yay. Thank you, Sita. How about you, Alona?
So Colleen, the biggest problem with me is branding because nobody can stick me in a box. So I'm a multidimensional clairsentient healer who is an evolutionary teacher who has an ascension community. My first book is coming out really shortly, and I can do all kinds of services from house and land clearings, massive retreats. I do work for the equinoxes and the solstices. I write like a fiend all the time. I have a website that has a 30% reader rate on it. I have steady email things, but and I've had over 500,000 people come to the website, and probably over that many people, most people stay for a while. They've probably gone through 2 million pages at some point. It's like a library.
Yeah.
But there has been definitely a karmic issue with flow. And I am open. I've done the prosperity programs. I've done this, that, or the other. But the biggest thing that I just did in the last couple of years that I was excited about was I got life insurance with a long-term care writer. I started a Roth IRA, but with an energy and a water fund, so that the money that I do put in supports climate change in the planet. I just found a local credit union and moved my savings account to that. So I'm taking a much more concerted interest in, just financially the practical side of things. And I've been running my own business for a really long time. I work out of the house, I make it happen. I consider myself a very successful businesswoman. It just doesn't show up in my checkbook. But in every other way, I would say that I am enormously abundant. But my biggest problem is time and branding, and my audience is small, but it's profound, but it's small.
Okay, awesome.
Thank you, Alona. Liz?
So I got my teaching credential, my preliminary credential, I guess last year. It feels like not that long ago, but it also feels like 10,000 years ago. But I haven't done anything with it yet because I had a high risk pregnancy, and I was on bed rest for most of my pregnancy. So I just had my baby in October, and now we are trying, it's like a really big transitional time for my husband and I. So I'm going to start applying for different schools very shortly here. And my husband is he does IT, but he is actually working on building an app because that's what he got his degree in. And he's doing that to build up a portfolio so he can switch careers. So it's like very transitional for us right now.
Yeah.
But like income coming in is like
Scary.
very little.
Very scary, yes.
little.
I feel ya.
Thank you, Liz. Colleen, I don't know if you can hear us. Colleen's video is not working, but there she goes.
I
Colleen.
can hear you. You just can't see me.
Okay.
So I'm retired, and the things I do are volunteer. So I take dogs visiting. I have therapy dogs that I take visiting to senior homes. And I'm on the board for a Democratic women's organization. And that takes quite a bit of time.
I love it.
So that's what I do.
Awesome. Well, I so appreciate that. Everyone kind of filling me in, because even if it's I'm retired or I do some things on the side or whatever, like we have to also keep in mind that everyone is always spending money. So everything that we do, we can charge for because people are spending money. And there's this story that some of you have probably heard, but it's about the Picasso and his napkin. Like Picasso was sitting in like a French cafe, and a woman walked up to him and said, "Are you the famous painter like Pablo Picasso?" And he was like, "Yeah, sure I am." And she handed him a napkin and said, "Could you draw something for me? Or could I have an autograph?" And he autographed it and drew a little sketch. And before handing it back, he asked for like $1 million in like, you know, that time frame, $1 million. She's like, "How in the world could you charge or ask for that much money in something that you did in 5 minutes?" And he was like, "My dear, what just took me 5 minutes to do took me 40 years to learn how to do." So like, you are not charging for the amount of time that you are doing something, because oftentimes if we have a skill or a gift, or have honed a craft, it's because we have taken time to learn it. We have invested in, you know, books and classes and teaching and all of these things that makes it seem easy to us and like a no-brainer. Well, if I can do this, anybody can do this. If Eileen can talk to animals, like everyone can. Or why would I charge anyone? It's just come so naturally and easy to me. It's a service. Why would I charge for that? But I'm willing to bet that if you're talking to animals, past or present, you're changing people's lives. You're giving them answers that they so desperately are seeking. So why you're giving them this energy of yours, why would you not request and require energy in return? Because if we don't, we're just depleting, and there's nothing left. So again, going back to this idea of money as energy, and if I'm not asking for it, I'm not getting it. And, you know, going back, Lisa, how you said, I don't deserve it. I think that's a very common belief that we as women have. And I'll ask you, Lisa, like going back to like, I don't deserve it. There's people who have, you know, have it worse. And when Janet was giving her meditation, what could happen though if we had more, right? Like if you had more, what could you do with it?
Oh, I could, you know, like I don't know about the rest of you, but I get up in the morning and do my Wordle, and then I go through, you know, all the social media, and this person needs this help and this person needs this help. And, you know, it's sometimes I'm strapped. I can't help them all. But, you know, so I send $10. I don't know any of these people, but, you know, their need is so great. And I'm in my bed doing Wordle. So I feel like, you know, that I can contribute. And so I would do so much more of that. So much more.
So when Janet was walking us through the meditation, the thing that came to mind is about 2.5 years ago, what is time anymore? COVID has like completely thrown me off, but about 2 and some change, there is a start of school, and at our local Target, they were doing like a fill the backpack campaign for kids who like couldn't afford it or whatever. You could buy a backpack, you could grab a school list, and you could fill a backpack for whatever. And I was like, yes, this is the stuff that lights me up. This is whatever. And I pick the backpack, I pick all this stuff, and then I quickly do the math in my head, and I'm like, this is going to be like $50. I was like, I can't spend $50. Like that's a lot of money. And at the time it was a ton. And so I had to put everything back, and I went to my car. I cried in my car because I was like, I so badly want to help, but I can't. And then it was just this, I'm going to make money so I can give more. And that to me has been the thing that I latch on to when I'm thinking I don't deserve this, or, you know, I have enough. Maybe I have enough, but other people don't. So if I have an abundance of what I need, I can give in ways that don't. And just this Christmas, my husband and I were able to fund a family's entire Christmas for their 2 children, bikes and toys and things and whatever. And I was like, this is why we need money and it flows to us, and it's wonderful. And like how Marilyn, you were saying the thought of we always land on our feet, we always have what we need. Well, great. And that's true. I was raised Catholic, the Catholic guilt of like, you don't need anything else, take what is given to you, don't complain. Like, you know, if God wanted money, like, look who he gives it to, or whatever. Like, that's what my mother was saying. But like, we can land on our feet and have what we need, but we also, what do we want? Right? And that's a conversation that a lot of us don't have with ourselves. I wanted an area where my kids couldn't come. We just moved in here in January from a house that was 1,800 square feet. I work from home. I hid in closets, whatever. Moved into a house that's like 5,500 square feet. Nobody's touching me, right? Get away. But I had what I needed. I had a roof over my head. I had a kitchen. I had a car, everything I needed. But what do we want? So after this, I would really encourage and love for all of you to like take some time with a journal or voice memo or whatever it is that you do to get your stuff out. What do you want? And like, be grandiose, get crazy with it. Like, you know, I want a floor of my house to myself. Are you joking? I want to be able to give my mom an X amount of money every month. Are you joking? Like, these are things that 2 years ago weren't even close to being a reality. But when you change your relationship and this understanding of like, it flows to me, the universe has your back and so wants to give you whatever it is that you want. But the universe also doesn't, and I'm not saying anything you don't know, but like, the universe doesn't discern between good or bad, if it's real or if it's not. So if you're sitting here and saying money is bad, I don't want it, get it away, or only bad people have money, or I'm greedy, or it's hard, it's limited, it's all this stuff, it's not going to come. No matter how much we journal, no matter how much meditation we do, if we don't get that shit straight, like, it's not going anywhere and the money's not coming. So I would love, you know, going back to the Picasso piece, we all have something here that we can sell. A lot of us are charging for things we don't feel, or not charging for things. I would love also like a takeaway or a thing to do is partner up in here, partner up with a friend or a colleague outside of this and say, you know what I do? You know that I talk to animals. Like, tell me how that's valuable. Because there are many days where I'm like, I don't do anything valuable. What do I do? This is all easy, right? It comes naturally. But then people are saying, oh, you've changed my life this way. Oh, you're doing this. That's so helpful. You don't see it because you're looking in the mirror every day and you're like, this is easy. Go back to clients, former clients, and say, you know, it's been a while since we worked, like, get testimonials, not to just so you can put it on your website or put it on Instagram, but like truly so you know, like, okay, I'm actually changing lives. I actually helped someone in that way. And showing up in that energy is, again, going to change the way that money and abundance flows to you. And I have another note about something.
Colleen, as you're looking at there, you know, did you read the book, The Millionaire Messenger? I think this is so impressive that Colleen changed her life so quickly. But in the book, The Millionaire Messenger, it said, what is your service going to do in the long term for somebody? How much is it really worth? And so when any of us who are therapists or whatever, and we help people's marriages or their self-esteem, it's worth a lot of money. A divorce costs, you know, a lot of money, right? So that really helped me. That one sentence in that book. Yeah.
What is it like? What is it worth? And again, like, even if when I was just selling products, like skincare products, I felt bad saying, like, you know, sales made me feel uncomfortable, asking people to, you know, assume someone would want to spend their money made me uncomfortable. But would it be worth $100 to not have acne, or like have your acne cleared up, or have this, or whatever service that you provide? Would it be worth that? Absolutely, it would. And, you know, along that, Janet, like getting clear on how much am I, like, how much is it worth? What is it for? Like, what am I going to do with it? Being clear on all of that, like it just flows that way. And I mean, I would love to open like up for discussion, questions, like, but I firmly believe that like we need to have this conversation and get like okay with being uncomfortable about money, because if we don't talk about it and we just feel like, oh, I have what I need, I'm gonna land on my feet, then that's all it's ever gonna be.
Yeah.
So Colleen, your life changed when you came up with a new idea and you just went with it?
I just
You-
went
it
with
was
it.
like- Yeah.
Did I have any idea what I was doing? No. Like, did I know how? Absolutely not. I've never built a community. I've never, charged people. I was the part of the structure is that I bring in speakers. Like coaching is expensive, and so I thought, well, what if I could reach out to like really expensive trainers and say, like, you could come be in front of my community and give a little ditty. No, I'm not paying anybody for that. I have the value. They get to come in front of my people. I'm not paying anyone to talk to me and my group. So like, I know I'm very aware of the value that I hold. I'm not like, and so again, like being aware of what you have, be it a skill or your art or whatever, like knowing the value and saying you can come be a part of it, or have a piece of it. But yeah, so I had no idea what I was reaching out to people, huge people. What the? No idea.
Sorry,
Still
we just lost somebody, and I'm like, where did they go? Where did they go?
No.
It's kind of interesting. Marie has talked to us at length about vision boards. I'm so enamored with the vision board. I don't have one, but I keep thinking I need one. But I remember very specifically, Marie said, you need to visualize the house. You need to see the furniture in the house. You need to see your dog walking in the backyard. You need to be very specific. And so I go and look at these houses in my neighborhood. Now, I live in I live in Newport Beach. So the houses here are very large, but every once in a while I run into a cottage and I'll be like, oh, well, that house would be okay. Not the big gigantic one next door. I'm just going to go ahead and settle for this little brick number here with the funny mailbox. You know what I mean? And so I discount myself every single time. And I look at the small little itty bitty house that needs a shitload of work compared to that big, beautiful mansion with the big, huge windows and the lanterns that I love. So that's the thing. I have to get past that. I have to get past and say, yeah, I should have the big ass house there. And by the way, I would change the lights,
Yes, exactly. You know what? It's so funny because for the past 2 years, literally every Saturday morning, we would get the kids in the car and we would grab Starbucks and we would go around and drive through the wealthiest neighborhoods in our area. And I would be like, if they can do it, I can do it. If they can do it, I can do it. If this person can be here, I can be here. Right. So like you literally have to put yourself, it sounds crazy, but I was like, okay, big brick house. They can't be better than me. They can't know, like, if they can do it, I can do it. And the back of my mind is like, are you out of your mind? But up here, I'm like, oh yes, like that. Great. I can do it. But it took, every single weekend for 2 years, without fail, we would get in this car and working our asses off, but also being like, it exists. Anything that you want exists. So why can't it be yours?
So that little nagging voice in the back of your head, that's preventing you from having that flow though, right?
I think it's always going to be there to us. Well, and this is just for me anyway. I think it's always going to be there. It's just learning to say like, shut up, kind of like, I have an anxiety disorder. Like I am medicated for my anxiety, but like, I know it's there. I don't try to change it. I don't try to make it go away. It's just like, okay, you're here. I'm riding a motorcycle and you're like in a sidecar. Like you can be here, be a little white doggy with some goggles on. Like you're cute. You can be there, but like I'm driving. So like that, it's always going to be there. There are days where I'm like, I'm worthless. I have nothing like to anything. This is all shit. But it like the front of the mind or whatever you want to call it, that the louder part is just like, no, it's okay. Like I'll prove it wrong. I don't think it's ever going to go away. And I think that's where we waste a lot of time and energy is like, that has to be all the way gone.
Yeah.
And I don't think it does. I just think we have to learn to yell louder than it.
Not
I,
even like-
I had a thing come to me when Janet was doing her meditation, and we've done this meditation before, and that didn't come to me that time. This time, Lisa, I'm like, oh yeah, I can be a billionaire because everybody on this call is going to be one with me, and we can do stuff together. And it's just like, oh my God, that made it so easy.
Yeah.
Because I've been doing these things in my head myself, right? And now it's like, no, that's why we're here. We can do this together, and there's no guilt.
Yes.
And if we bring all our billions together, we can get a better rocket than those guys.
Don't be like a phallic shape, like, okay, Jeff Bezos. Just
Yeah.
It's really funny that you said that about the drive. My husband and I take our kids for a drive every weekend because our son is very nap resistant, and only when he gets a nap in, yes, it's through a car. So during the week he's in daycare, but on the weekends he needs a nap. And so I actually drove on Saturday and we went for a drive, and of course somehow I got lost because I do that very well. And we ended up in these really nice neighborhoods, and my husband's like, okay, well, let's just go back. Like, let's just go back. I don't want to go this way because the further up we go, the houses get nicer, and I'm tired of feeling depressed. And so I'm like, you're right, let's just go back. And last week in our neighborhood, I live in Garden Grove, there was a shooting in the driveway right in front of my car spot. I couldn't get in. And I'm like, oh, well, the kids were luckily inside and safe and everything was fine. I come home at 10 p.m. and I'm like, this is my life. Like, there is a shooting in front of my parking spot. I can't get in. And I'm so glad my husband and I were not outside near the shooting, because we could have been shot.
Yeah,
it was
right
in front of our parking spot. So it's interesting that you say that, because a lot of times I don't feel worthy of money, or I don't feel worthy of any of it, but I do know that I do want to change lives, and I feel so powerless right now. So it's really interesting that you said that. It really resonated with me, like the drives and how you changed your mindset.
Yeah.
So
I
this
was like
weekend, Liz,
driving around waving at people. I was
drive.
like, they think we live here.
This weekend, Liz, you drive into the nice neighborhood again.
Yeah.
Oh,
Because the question, it gets really uncomfortable to, like you were just saying, your husband, and you're like, let's go back. Because it's really, really uncomfortable to see yourself like when I heard this a long time ago, and I was like, that's the stupidest thing I've ever heard. But like, people are scared of success. And I was like, who'd be scared of success? Like, who? Me. I was, because it's really uncomfortable. Your life changes. But what's scarier, like succeeding or like being outside when somebody's like shooting people? Like, I think I know the answer of which one's scarier, right? Like, so what's going to happen by you not getting uncomfortable and driving into those neighborhoods? Like, you're going to stay right where you are. So go into the neighborhoods, wave at people like you live there. If people are living there, there's no reason you can't.
I
I
agree.
mean, it's not going to come from the sky. You got to work, but like, you guys are.
Colleen, you know that poem by Marianne Williamson that says it's our light, not our darkness, that frightens us the most. It's who are you not to be brilliant, successful, all that. And that that poem really resonates, that we try to hide instead of just letting it come out. And I think that's what you were able to do. I've known, I've seen Colleen on podcasts and Facebook, and she just gets out there, and it's like she's willing to risk anything.
And it's so scary. And I will tell you, I'm out there on Instagram, and people make like hate videos about me. I'm on websites about, the bullying and like the hate is awful, but at the same time, so is the reward. It's awesome. Like the reward is awesome. If you want a lot of people to like you, you have to be okay with a lot of people not liking you. And I think when we are helpers, we want everyone to like us. We want everyone to be happy and like, but at what cost is that happening? You know, us
Right.
feeling dull.
I think if we're really being ourselves, it's going to mean people are not going to like us. And it's
Oh.
like, okay, then, okay, that's okay, right?
Yeah, that's okay. Mhm.
So
My mom's always like, are you sure? Are you sure you want to say that? You sure you want to say that? I'm like, you are why I'm in therapy. Yes. Yes, I'm sure. God,
so does anybody have questions or something specific relative to you that you want to ask Colleen? I know that we could probably send you questions if.
yeah, absolutely. Send me questions if you're on Instagram or anything like that.
Yeah.
What is your Instagram handle?
Oh, it's Colleen _Nichols. That's my personal one. And then No Shame Sales Game is my like business.
Okay.
one.
And Colleen, you people can buy a subscription to what you do, right? I
Oh,
mean,
gosh. Yeah. I mean, don't worry about that. No, just kidding. Yeah, you totally could. Totally could. Yep, it's $1 a day. But yeah, you totally could. Yep. Mhm. The link is- yeah.
Well, I for one am feeling very optimistic about, you know, a change in my pattern of thinking, you know, and I think what helped is the fact that I could help more people.
Yes.
And that makes me feel more accepting of the idea of this flow, because I feel like, yeah, I could put a lot more towards good instead of just sitting there thinking that I'm, you know, selfish and I have a roof over my head and so many people don't. And, you know, like the Catholic school moms, the Catholic moms, poor children starving in
Starting
China.
at, yep.
You know?
Mhm.
Like,
Yep.
who
Mhm.
are these kids? And they can certainly have my dinner because I don't like it.
Exactly. Yeah. There's always going to be somebody who has it worse. And but we're here because we want to help other people. We're not, you know, that's why it's great. There's so much that we can do. It's energy and we can give back. And it's not just us like having billions of dollars and, you know, taking a rocket to space for no reason, right?
Right.
We're doing something. So yes,
Wow.
yes. Thanks for having me. I hope it was helpful.
Yeah, well, extremely helpful. I think that everyone's nodding here and I'm already seeing dollar signs in most of their eyeballs. So I would say that's
It's yours.
I guess
Yeah,
I'll be moving to
Colleen,
California
I
soon.
know you're really busy, but do you want to be on our mailing list and sometimes come in and then, you know, that we're doing different things, but I think your energy, sharing energy would be really good for the group.
Yeah, I do.
If you
I
ever
told
have,
like, yes, I would love it.
oh, good,
And
good.
typically, because it's Eastern, it's like 1 o'clock, so I'm either typically like making a lunch or wiping a butt or whatever, but I don't have my kids today. So, but if I am around, I am here. Absolutely.
I'm wondering if we could do a
Oh.
follow-up. I know Sita wants to, but I'm thinking we could think about this and maybe do a follow-up. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sita, what would you like to say?
Well, what I'd like to say is what I really got out of this that was very unique. And I know we all talk about not having enough self-esteem, and we're always trying to figure out to convince ourselves that we are worth this or that we deserve that kind of stuff. But I tell you, it is a novelty for me to think about how much would I be worth to my client? And I know it's the same line, but somehow it's like, I never thought it in that way.
Mhm.
Like, how much would I pay somebody like me to get that information? To me, that is brilliant. Thank you.
That was Janet. Yes.
Well, do you know what? I went to a therapist once and she charged more money than I did. And I went, oh my God, I'm better than she is. So I raised my prices. It was
Yes. Yes, absolutely. You see what other people are charging and you're like, what the hell? This is crazy.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Wow.
Mhm.
Love it. Love
Oh,
it.
good, I'm glad.
Meryl?
I once had I'm not muted. Years ago, when I was coming out of the year of the cancer experience, a little bit after that, the person who became my agent said I should raise my rates. I'm a spiritual medium. And I was really resistant to that, didn't want to do it. and then saw that people were sending checks for more money. And we went on the website, that was before it was redone with the whole book thing. And the only one who had access to it was my husband. I don't know how to work it. He hadn't changed it. Divine Consciousness did. My rate was raised. I didn't dare change it. And that's how I finally went up.
That's so cool.
Wow.
Yeah.
You
I
know,
mean, but I was so resistant to it, you
Right,
know, and I got,
people.
I got a 6-page letter from a mom this past week, and it's taken me 4 times to read it. I still can't sit and read the whole thing because it's so, you know, you just want to heal everything, and it's still the situation as it is. But it's, I think what all of us do, all of us have things that change people's lives, you know, I'm not the only one. But I was so resistant to allowing more in that they had to do it for me.
Mhm.
We have things like that happen, but that was a pretty blatant one.
That's pretty blatant. You're just like, okay,
Yeah.
it's time. I'll
Yeah.
do it. I'll log in. Yeah, it's very uncomfortable to raise your rates, to charge more. But I've also, like, somebody told me once that, like, if the price tag is too low, then people don't take it seriously. And they'll be like, why is she only charging $20? Like, is she, you know, you have to find that rate that it makes you legitimate, you know? So it's like, oh, she must be something. I mean, if you're charging $10,000 for a 30-minute phone call, that might be, I don't know. But, like, you know, if you're charging $20 for an hour reading or a painting or whatever, like, why would I pay that?
Yeah.
Psychologically, like even subconsciously.
So Colleen, you coach people individually too, right?
I used to. I'm doing it. I don't do it right now just because of I don't have the bandwidth, but I used to. Maybe that'll come back online, but not at the moment.
I was just gonna ask something similar. What about, how do you do sales for for introverts?
Oh my gosh. I think introverts are, like, actually the best salespeople for online, because I mean, I'm not an introvert, but all of my sales have been online. I, like, on social media. But with introverts, like, because of social media, you can curate it to, you know, how much energy you want to put in and whatnot. Cause I feel like even for me as an extrovert, like, going to a networking event, like, gag me, like, no, don't make me do it. But, like, but if you're using social media and the internet, you can decide, okay, I have the most energy now, I'm going to create some content, and then you can spend the rest of your day not engaging in that way. So for an introvert, I think it's just tapping into your energy pockets throughout the day and creating, you know, some content when you have the energy, and then backing off the other times. It's not all the time. Yeah.
I think we all need to think about this. You know, I in my book, The Facing Your Fears, we have a dream list, and it has 6 categories to do dreams. I'm going to go back and do that. I mean, I wrote the book and I haven't done it for a while, but I think that would be really good. But if we all could, like, take some time and really start to really take this into our heart and soul, and perhaps you'd have another time we could do even advanced class.
Oh, that'd be so fun.
Okay.
Yeah, I would love that'd be great if we could all, like, tonight, today, whatever, go and make that dream list, want list, like, big, really crazy things. And then in a month, like, come back and see what's transpired. Like, you know, Mary Beth talking about that job that, like, was, like, written for you, like, that kind of stuff starts happening, and it's insane. It's insane. You look around and you're like, am I being punked?
Yeah.
This can't possibly be. So yeah, I would love that. Or if you just want to email me, that's fine too. But
I think we would love it too.
Yes.
yeah, cool.
Today was wonderful. I feel
Yeah.
inspired. So
Yes, good. Well, thanks for having me.
thank you, Colleen, very much.
Yeah, you
Really.
guys had a good one. I appreciate it.
Okay.
Go make some money.
All right, ladies, you've got your marching orders. I hope you all
Yes.
have a really, really good week. And I guess we'll see you next Monday.
Yes.
All right.
Okay.
Thank you so
Bye,
much,
guys.
Colleen.
Love you all.
So much love to you.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank
so
you.
much.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
That was wonderful.
That was really good.
Yeah, it was
That
great.
was amazing.
Let me see.